If you don't have 10 minutes for your life, you don't have a life. You know, when you think about framing, I look at framing as three. I call pre-framing and reframing and deframing. The helicopter ride, that's not dangerous. I'm on the road, long winding road from the airport to the main freeway area. And I come to the stoplight and I'm on the phone chatting as I'm waiting, on the speakerphone. And all of a sudden I see these lights are coming really fast and really fast. And so then they get so fast, I was like, oh my God, is this guy going to brake? And before I could finish thinking the thought, but then I also have certain beliefs. We all have beliefs that pre-frame you or not. And one of the core beliefs I developed over the years was just that I think everything happens for a reason. I think there's a higher purpose. I think it's my job to find it.
In terms of a strategy, how is it that you try to tell yourself the best framing, the best perspective, the best meaning that you can?
Well, I think, when you think about framing, I look at framing as three. I call pre-framing and reframing and deframing. Most people are familiar with the reframing. Reframing is you came up with a meaning and it's not so good. And so now you're going to change it, or you want to do it with someone else. You're going to influence someone and they have this negative frame and you're going to reframe them. That's a lot harder than pre-framing. Pre-framing is, well, I'll tell you a sample story to make it simple. Pre-framing is getting someone to focus on something, knowing in advance what you're going to focus on and giving it a meaning in advance before it happens. That's a lot easier than after it's happened. Because after it's happened, you have a meaning locked in to some extent, especially if it's something that's painful, right? So I'll give you a simplistic example. I remember one day I went and I lived in San Diego, California, and I have a helicopter and I was flying up to LA and I love flying. And that morning I got out and I had a couple cars to choose from and I chose this little Corvette I had in those days. Wind in my hair, I'm gonna have fun. I drive, I fly to LA, I did this TV show and landed on the roof. It was so much fun. I didn't even have to go to the airport and flew back. And I was just like in euphoria, having a blast, It was actually Bill Maher when he used to do his program up in LA. And then I got in the car, and it's getting dark and I'm driving and sure enough, I'm incorrect about things. The last minute, I traded out that car. That's right. My wife needed the car, so I traded out for the BMW 750iL. Why does that matter? So I'm driving home. The helicopter ride, that's not dangerous. I'm on the road, long winding road from the airport to the main freeway area. And I come to the stoplight and I'm on the phone chatting as I'm waiting on the speakerphone. And all of a sudden I see these lights are coming really fast and really fast. And so then they get so fast, I was like, oh my God, is this guy going to brake? And before I could finish thinking the thought, at 65 miles an hour, the guy hits me from behind. He fell asleep at the wheel, right? So I can remember everything in slow motion. In those days they had to, your tape deck in there and it went flying past my head in slow motion. And I mean, everything changes when you're in that kind of an experience. I'm sure if you've ever experienced, you know what I mean? And all I remember is waking up and the fire people extracting me out of the other side of the car. And they're like, want to take me to the hospital? And I was like, no, I'll see my chiropractor in the morning. And then I woke up the next morning, I couldn't move. It was pretty rough. But the reason I tell you this story is eventually I got well and I need to go buy another car. Well, I never had the criteria before of safety. But that car, everybody told me that car saved your life. So why did I tell you that? So I go looking for a car. So I thought, this BMW, that was a damn good car, but I want another sports car. I'm going to get another 750iL, but let me go to sports car to replace that Corvette. And, I want something that's sturdy and so forth. So the guy took me, whatever it was, 325i's, whatever they were called in those days. I forget what it was. Stick shift. And he said, he got me in the car and he said, now before we go out, I want to tell you, I'm going to take you on this winding road. It's amazing. And, this is the ultimate driving machine. He said, it's not like your 750iL. Your 750iL, you don't feel the damn thing. He goes, when you get in this car and you shift into it, he goes, we drop into it, you'll feel the wheels catch into it and grab it. He said, you'll see this is the ultimate car. So what's he doing? He's pre-framing me because we're going to go through a construction area that's all beat up, right? So we go in the construction area, and at 750, I wouldn't have felt anything, right? Just boom, smooth. But it was, and it's bouncing around. And even though I know what he just did, my brain's like, yeah, it is really digging in, right? If he had tried to tell me after I'd done that, I would have thought, that's a piece of crap car because he pre-framed me. So I pre-frame myself. And the way I do it, I call priming. You're familiar with the principle of priming, right? So most of us think we're having our own thoughts. Most of our thoughts have been primed by the environment. So you can test so many things in this area. So I get up every morning and my first discipline, I'm not a meditator per se. I don't know anybody good at not having any thoughts. But I thought I want to prime myself. That's my goal. So I do a breathing pattern, like a, breath of fire type of thing to change my physiology for just 2 minutes. And then I do 3 things, and I do it for just 10 minutes. Because my view is, if you don't have 10 minutes for your life, you don't have a life. And I want to prime myself so whatever comes into this world, I have the best chance of handling it really well. And I'm training my nervous system. What's the emotion I want to train? Gratitude. Why? We all know the 2 emotions that destroy your relationship, your business, your life, it's fear and anger. Those are 2 extremes. You can't be grateful and fearful simultaneously. You can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. So what I do is I start my day, I make those changes, and I close my eyes or I look out at the water and I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for just a minute each. But I don't think of it like over there, like if you've ever been on a roller coaster and I ask you what it's like, some people remember it over there. No, I remember it like I'm in the front seat going over the edge, because then you get the authentic biochemical changes. So I'm there, and I do 2 strong things, and usually 1 simple thing, like the wind in my hair or my daughter's smile or something of that nature. So I don't just get wired for unbelievable things, but that primes that nervous system. And then the second thing I do is I take 3 minutes, and it's kind of like a blessing or a prayer for the people around me, for the people I love. I start close, I send it out there, and there's been a lot of studies I'm sure you've read that Dalai Lama and others have done on compassion for strangers, what it does to your brain. And so I do it every day. And then the last 3 minutes I call 3 to Thrive, where I focus for a minute each on something I really want to make happen. But I don't sit there and pray for it, hope for it. It's like I give thanks for it as it's done. I see it as done. I experience it as done. I wire my reticular activating system. I can speak in shorthand to you about this. So now it's going to notice anything that relates to that, but it has a joyous feeling to it as well. And I'm done in 10 minutes, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So, I do my cold plunge, and I do the parts of my normal daily ritual, but that one I do. And then I'll have like 60 seconds, of joy, or 60 seconds of peace that I'll do in the middle of the day, and I'll just think of one of those things if I want to reactivate it. But that pre-frames me, right? But then I also have certain beliefs. We all have beliefs that pre-frame you or not. And one of the core beliefs I developed over the years was just that I think everything happens for a reason. I think there's a higher purpose. I think it's my job to find it. I think that life happens for us, not to us, but it's our job to figure it out. And a lot of times I feel like something's happening to me. Deframing is when you destroy the frame of reference. So in business, one of the things you have to know is, like, I believe it's my privilege to serve people, but I also believe it's their privilege to be able to learn. And it's not an ego thing. It's just like, it's a mutual privilege, meaning I got to earn the right to be able to serve you, and you got to be a reasonable person for me to want to serve you too. And I made a change in one of my events, is like 20 years ago. And one of the things I did is there was a 14-day program, and the world changed. And so we brought it down to 10 days. I think it was 12 days to 14 in those days. And I had some open days with some stretches and things. It was a very intensive program, but I was like, I need to make it tighter so people can commit the time and come. And I figured out how I'm going to add even more value, how I'm going to make this even more useful. So I did. And there's this one woman who went crazy, and she started attacking me and called my offices up and said, I want my money back, and I'm going to tell everybody else Tony Robbins is screwing us and everything else. And my team was all freaked out. And I said, no. I said, fire her. I said, what? I said, fire her as a customer. I said, you call her, because it's not her first event. She knows how incredible things are. She wouldn't be coming to this 14-day event, 12-day event. I said, if she's going to say that, first of all, I'm happy to give her money back. We have a money back guarantee on everything. So I give her money back and say, we want to give her money back, but want you to know you can never come to an event again because you're no longer one of our customers, because you know better. You know Tony always adds 10 times the value, right? Long story short, this lady starts fighting to stay on there. My staff couldn't believe it, right? Because you deframed it. You took away the frame of reference. You destroyed it, right? I said, no, you don't understand. She goes, no, I have a right to come. No, you don't. I have to earn your respect. I got to deliver for you. You got to deliver for me too. You're not a customer anymore, and you can't come here. The lady, it was in Hawaii. She flew to Hawaii and demanded to see me as the program's going to start. You have to let me in this program, right? I said, if you want to make a public apology for what you've done, I said, that'd be acceptable to me. I said, but you knew better. You just did this to get attention. And I said, so I bought back your seat, and I told you to send us any of your friends that want their seats back. I said, we need the seats. We really did, right? And so that was the end of it. And it gave a lesson to everybody on my team. I try to teach it to business owners. Like, not everybody's your customer. I'm not the right person for everybody. You're the right person for everybody. We have unique styles or approaches, and so we're not here to try to please everybody. We're here to try and serve the people that are really interested in being served. So pre-frame, reframe, and deframe as frames or references, but I think pre-frame is the most valuable.